I mean, let's be real. It's David Gemmell. You know it's probably going to be good. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about Knights of Dark Renown by David Gemmell. This is one of the sort of like Draenei adjacent books. There are a couple of these that are like very, very distant prequels, sort of, and like they're not really part of Draenei, but were marketed sort of that way. And so there's a reference right at the beginning to that, and there were some similar things because you could say it's in the same world, but when it's like 2,000 years before, does it really matter that much? But it is David Gemmell, and so this has such a David Gemmell type of premise, but one that I think works really well and goes great. And so this is set after the kind of the disappearance of the famed Knights of Kabbalah, who were like these amazing warriors, but they were also very pure, and they brought order and justice. But they disappeared after passing a gate basically into hell itself to try to fight evil at its source. And now there's plenty of evil in the land, and the king is a tyrant, and there's all of these different things happening here, and it ends up being up to a group of very unlikely people to kind of take over the mantle of knights. And they're not so pure, and they're not so brave or great fighters necessarily, but they're gonna have to step in and do it. And so I feel like that works. And the title, The Knights of Dark Renown, because there's even a scene where you kind of get that, is, you know, these people saying like, you know, look, we're not the Knights of Kabbalah, we're not these great people, and so it's through these Knights of Dark Renown and kind of having to step in. And very much, you know, with Gemmell, he has some of that heroic fantasy feel, and he also likes to do the kind of the unlikely heroes type of thing. This does have a bit of a different feel than Draenei. It's a little bit darker and coarser in some ways, but also just has more of magic and that type of thing, which there is some magic in Draenei, but it's very much not as much of a focus. And so this has a little bit more magic to it, has some more different things of that variety that I feel make it just a little bit more fantasy, but still has that kind of Gemmell flair. It moves very quickly. We have a cast of diverse characters who are ending up to be becoming our knights and going from that route. And it's really, really great storytelling with how it weaves around with what happened with the original knights. One of the characters, Mananan, was one of those original knights, but he just got scared and couldn't pass through the gate, and so has just been, you know, running away from his fate basically this whole time. And we have a really wide variety of these other characters as well, but they're the ones there, and they're the ones stepping up here. And it's interesting because there's some commentary here too, because the king, who there are rumors that he's been enchanted some way and is not himself. But there's directives coming down to completely get rid of these nomad peoples and to get rid of them, and then you get rid of the nomad peoples, and then there's nobody to do a lot of the jobs and this type of thing. And it's interesting because the intent is pretty clear to what group of people that this was supposed to be when this is written, but you can also see some applicability to today with looking at different groups. And it's kind of one of those things too where some of those ideas they have a lot of applicability because you look at lots of different parts of history and you can apply it to different groups of people and that type of thing happening. But so you seeing some of that, and I always feel like that's just a sign of good storytelling when you have something that's specific enough that you can tell what it's directed at and what it's meant to be, but also general enough and well written enough that it can apply to many different things all throughout time and history. So having some of that, but really I enjoyed the idea of this group of people coming together and becoming these new knights, and it does have some of that feel of like, you know, they're chosen, and so like the armor chooses them, that type of thing. So it's not necessarily like written like why all these people want to do it. But there's so many different motivations. Like you have the character who was a knight, but, you know, was a coward, and now it feels that he's the least of them. You have a character who, you know, is not a good guy, has done some pretty terrible things, but just can't get enough of the feeling that people believe in him and think he could be more. You have other people fighting for various reasons. Some want vengeance, some want glory, and it's just it's something that Gemmell just does so well with heroic fantasy, and it's the reason why, despite the fact that he sometimes will do similar themes, and I read all the books in the Draenei saga, which there's some similar themes, some repeat characters obviously all throughout as well, but deals with a lot of similar things, but always adding interesting bits to the story. And this was no exception. It's just he does a fantastic job with those specific tropes that he likes to do with heroes. And this one, like I said, this goes into some different directions. It does have a pretty different feel to Draenei. I didn't like it as much as like my favorite Draenei books, but I feel like it's kind of like middle of the pack for me. But I enjoyed all of the Draenei books, or aren't any of them that I didn't like. And then Dark Moon was another standalone. That one was completely separate though, and I don't know where I'd rank that here. But just another really solid Gemmell book. If you like Draenei, if you like David Gemmell and heroic fantasy in general, and just kind of that twist on heroes where it's the unlikely band having to come into, and especially if you like a little bit more magic, this has that. But really enjoyable read. And I now really need to get to, I think Morningstar is the other one of these, the sort of Draenei adjacent ones. It's supposed to technically is like super far before the series. So I'll be interested to check that one out here too as well. Really though, those are my thoughts on the Knights of Dark Renown by David Gemmell. Let me know if you've read this one. As well as if there are other Gemmell that you recommend checking out. I eventually plan to get to all of them. But that's it for this one, so make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description, as always, for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizardly Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books with you, anything at all is a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you. And, of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.